Overnight explosions in Beirut, the biggest Israeli assault on the Lebanese capital since a ceasefire in 2024, marking the opening of a new front in the Iran war, still only hours old. The Israeli strikes killing dozens and forcing the evacuation of thousands of civilians from the Beirut suburb known as a Hezbollah stronghold. But earlier in the night, it was Hezbollah that initially launched rockets and drones into northern Israel. There were no casualties reported. The strikes, the group said, were to avenge the assassination of Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. As a direct result of that attack on Israel, a first in Lebanese politics today, the government declaring Hezbollah military activities illegal. How that will be enforced is still unclear. Hezbollah is both a political and military group backed and funded by Iran, as is Hamas in Gaza, although now largely decimated. Both are among many proxy groups in the region now in the spotlight as Iran retaliates against the U.S. and Israeli bombing campaign. The Houthis in Yemen are another, all part of what Israel calls the axis of terror. But Hezbollah is not the military force it was before October 7th. Months of war resulted in a ceasefire in late 2024. Israel has continued to strike southern Lebanon. Its military saying today a renewed ground invasion is not off the table. In a country so painfully familiar with war, many here, especially the most vulnerable, had hoped they wouldn't be dragged into a new one.
It's very difficult to get people here to speak on camera. Remember, they live in a Hezbollah stronghold, so being openly critical of the group is a risk they are not willing to take.
Some told us they still support Hezbollah, but believe the latest strikes against Israel were a bad idea. They say they're sick of war and never-ending displacement. Others went further.
Are you scared that Israel and Hezbollah have just started another war?
Of course everyone is scared, she says. People have started to wish they can live in peace alongside Israel. And that peace, for now, elusive, not just in Lebanon, but the entire region.
Danielle is joining us now live in Beirut. So let's talk more about this sort of proxy piece of this in the Lebanese government that's banned military activities from Hezbollah. How does that, in practice actually work?
Yeah, great question, and I'm afraid I don't have a clear answer for you, Hallie. And just before I get into it, I just want to say that Dahya, the suburb that I was just talking about, was right behind me across that bay, and we've just heard the sound of gunfire, a drone, Israeli drone flying above. There possibly could be strikes in the next few minutes, but just warning you. How are they going to disarm or force Hezbollah to disarm? Well, if people are watching at home and thinking, well, why don't the Lebanese armed forces get involved? It's not as simple as that. First things first, yes, Hezbollah is much more weaker today. You remember the pager attack that wounded hundreds of members of Hezbollah, but it is still a stronger military force compared to the Lebanese army. And the Lebanese army, much like the parliament here in Lebanon, is divided along sectarian lines, Christians, Sunnis, Shia Muslims, and it's from the Shia community that Hezbollah gets a lot of its support, which means it adds a layer of complexity here that in this part of the world cannot be ignored. Hallie?
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.